Hi, I'm Saniel Bonder, and it's my pleasure to invite you to the beginning of what I hope will be a series of videos on the theme of celebrating Rumi. I'm especially privileged to be working with this text here, Rumi in the Arms of the Beloved, translations by Jonathan Starr. Jonathan Starr is a friend of mine, a student in the work that I founded called Waking Down, and he has invited me to read selections from this and one of his other books of Rumi poems. And I'm very happy to do so. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I'm inclined to just start at the beginning and see how far this goes. Jonathan is an esteemed translator. Let me read you from the back cover of this very beautiful book, by the way. This is the hardcover copy that he gave me. So you can see how lovely the production is of the book. It was put out by Tarcher Putnam. Very nice book. Physical beauty that corresponds to the the loveliness and the depth and really the magnificence of the poetry and Jonathan's translations. So I'm just going to read you some introductory material today about the book, about Rumi, about Jonathan's work on it, and from Jonathan's introduction, and we'll see how far I get. Probably include a couple of the initial poems just to get us started also. So this is from Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan, one of the great Sufi masters of modern times. Beautiful statement. Of the plethora of magic of the ecstatic poet Rumi, Jonathan Starr has highlighted those quintessential outbursts of the soul that shatter matter-of-fact thinking and hoists our consciousness into other dimensions, carrying us into meaningfulness and ecstasy. From Sylvia Boorstein, author of It's Easier Than You Think and one of today's leading Buddhist teachers, this is a breathtakingly gorgeous presentation of the beyond belief joy of liberated vision. Larry Dossey, MD, author of Prayer is Good Medicine and Healing Words, wrote, André Malraux said that the 21st century will be spiritual or it will not be at all. Thus, we need Rumi's spiritual vision today more than ever before. Rumi would be proud of Starr's luminous translations. Barbara De Angelis, PhD, author of Ask Barbara, a beautifully rendered collection of wisdom and inspiration that will make a difference in your life. And from Joan Borisenko, PhD, author of A Woman's Book of Life, each poem in this timeless anthology of Rumi's inspired verse is a jewel. The choice of poems and the subtle magnificence through which Starr renders the metaphoric language of spirit left me in a profound state of grace. This book is a gift, an experience of the divine to be treasured for a lifetime. I'm honored to have such an esteemed translator as Jonathan. Number one, be so profoundly attracted to and committed to this work that I've been privileged to bring forth into the world, this transformational work, which is all about us getting to this greatness of vision ourselves and living in this kind of ecstatic presence right here in the midst of our everyday lives, as Rumi sure did. And I'm also moved to do this in part because I feel it's my calling to not only present my own perspective to the world, my work, my offering, my transmission, spiritual energy and presence that I can offer people, and to do so with my wife, Linda Groves Bonder, who many of us call Linda Ma, because she's such a great heart of love herself through our Human Son Institute. But also, and as part of that work of Human Son Institute, to celebrate what I call the global living lineage of the many, the countless practitioners and meditators and servants of God and truth and reality and the ultimate, and of love and trust and integrity and joy, and of one another, of what it really means to be human and to celebrate and prize each other and the best in each other, the better angels and the greater gods and goddesses of our nature. And so this is one of the ways that I'm moved to engage in that celebration, and I hope and intend to do much more of this. But I've got plenty to work on here, starting with Rumi in the Arms of the Beloved. So I'll get on into some of the material here from Jonathan's book. Jonathan dedicates it to one who wears the robes of fire. And he offers a special thanks that I really appreciate. I'd like to thank all those people who've supported this offering with their love and enthusiasm. Special thanks go to Sharam Shiva for supplying literal translations of the quatrains, Rumi's verse, and to all the people at Jeremy P. Tarcher for the care and honor that they extended to these words. So, before the introduction, let me start with another poem here. This is from Sultan Walad, who is Rumi's son. Day and night, my father danced in ecstasy, spinning on earth like the turning heavens. His laughter echoed through the zenith of the sky and was heard by beings of every realm. He showered the musicians with gold and silver. He gave away whatever came into his hand. He was never without a singing heart. He was never at rest. There was a rebellion in the city. No, the whole world sounded with the cries of rebellion. How could a great pillar and champion of Islam, hailed as the leader of both worlds, become such a raving madman? Those who recited the scriptures were now singing with abandon and swaying with the musicians. In public and in private, people turned away from dogma and empty rituals and went crazy after love. Sounds like Sultan Walad was a bit touched himself. So this is Jonathan Starr's introduction. Let me show you, by the way. Let's see if I can get him on screen for you. Here's a picture of Jonathan, a little younger than he is today. I think this book was published in 1990, 1992. Handsome man, Harvard graduate, widely acclaimed for his translations of everything from Rumi to the Tao Te King to the great Christian mystics. His poetry and writings on Eastern philosophy have been translated into German, French, Spanish, and Italian, and he has been an editor for and frequent contributor to Darshan magazine. His other books include Two Suns Rising, A Garden Beyond Paradise, which is also a book about Rumi's poetry, and a translation of the Tao Te King. He lives in Princeton, New Jersey. He did when this book was published, and I think he still does. Jonathan, this is also very much for you. Introduction. There is a voice in us all that is ever present, a voice that always sings its melody to the world. This is the voice of truth and certainty, the voice that lays bare the hidden mysteries of the soul. In a burst of inspiration, the German poet Rainer Maria Rilke heard this voice and wrote for 3 days, in his quotation here, in a single breathless obedience, without one word being in doubt or having to be changed. This inspired state that opens up the vistas of the universe, one we glimpse only at peak moments in our life, is the same state that poet saints live in all the time. That is why their every word is charged with purity and divine refulgence. And apparently, Jonathan gave me this copy himself, and apparently these are his notes in it, some of which I think must be in Mandarin. I'm not sure. They're definitely not English. It looks like Chinese symbols. But on this word refulgence, he underlined it, and the definition he wrote in pencil here, gloriously bright. This is why their every word is charged with purity and divine refulgence. Their poetry is a reflection of their own perfect state. Jalaluddin Rumi was such a poet saint. For 30 years, poetry issued from his lips, infused with such genius and perfection as to belie human origin. He was a pure instrument of the divine, a flute upon which God played an exquisite song. In one of his quatrains, Rumi writes, "Do you think I know what I'm doing? That for a moment, or even half a moment, I know what verses will come from my mouth? I'm no more than a pen in a writer's hand, no more than a ball smacked around by a polo stick." Rumi's breathless obedience to that inner voice is what made him a peerless master of ecstatic verse. The Islamic scholar A.J. Arbery writes, "In Rumi, we encounter one of the world's greatest poets. In profundity of thought, inventiveness of image, and triumphant mastery of language, he stands out as the supreme genius of Islamic mysticism." And R.A. Nicholson, who dedicated his life to Islamic studies, called Rumi simply the greatest mystical poet of any age. The poetic and mystical achievement of Jalaluddin Rumi is a monument in the annals of spiritual literature. In his vast outpouring, he not only captured the whole of Islamic mysticism, but polished it, refined it, and transformed it into a thing of exquisite beauty. The most personal experiences are cast in the light of universal truths. The ordinary life of man, crowded, busy, full of uncertainty, is shown to be a necessary step on one's journey to the ineffable absolute. Rumi has given every word life, and everyone who reads him beholds the naked words of the soul clothed in living form. In Rumi, we hear the pure voice of love. We hear the intimate whispers of lover and beloved. We feel the joyous heart gliding upon the water of its own melting. So, I'm going to continue with parts of the introduction as we go, but I don't want to keep us waiting. Part 1, To Us Return. Here's Jonathan's first choice. For ages you have come and gone. Title. We can see the truth in your eyes. For ages you have come and gone, courting this delusion. For ages you have run from the pain and forfeited the ecstasy. So come, return to the root of your own soul. Although you appear in earthly form, your essence is pure consciousness. You are the fearless guardian of divine light. So come, return to the root of your own soul. When you lose all sense of self, the bonds of 1,000 chains will vanish. Lose yourself completely. Return to the root of the root of your own soul. You descended from Adam by the pure word of God, but you turned your sight to the empty show of this world. Alas, how can you be satisfied with so little? So come, return to the root of your own soul. Why are you so enchanted by this world when a mine of gold lies within you? Open your eyes and come. Return to the root of your own soul. You were born from the rays of God's majesty when the stars were in their perfect place. How long will you suffer the blows of a non-existent hand? So come, return to the root of your own soul. You are a ruby encased in granite. How long will you deceive us with this outer show? Oh friend, we can see the truth in your eyes. So come, return to the root of your own soul. After one moment with that glorious friend, you became loving, radiant, and ecstatic. Your eyes were sweet and full of fire. Come, return to the root of your own soul. Shams-e Tabriz, the king of the tavern, has handed you an eternal cup. And God in all his glory is pouring the wine. So come, drink. Return to the root of your own soul. Whew. I had thought to go on, but something tells me that's just fine for today. Maybe these recordings will be longer, some may be shorter. Come, return to the root of your own soul. Till next time.